Hello all, and welcome to this morning live, this Thursday morning live here in Adelaide, South Australia. I'd love for you all to come and join me and let me know where you're joining from and what brings you to this live, because as always, I love when you come and connect with me. Let me know where you're from and let me know if there's anything you're going through, anything you'd like to talk about, because the last thing I want is for you to suffer alone and to think that you're a burden or you're bothering someone or your problems aren't good enough or you should just suck it up or whatever goes on in your mind, because that is not the case. No matter how many people, no matter who told you that that's the case, it's not the case. You deserve to feel safe, seen and heard, and to have your feelings validated, and all your feelings are here for a reason. So let me know where you're from, and if you'd like to have a chat, if you have any questions. Hi Jules, thanks for watching. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but I am a little sick at the moment with my voice, but I still wanted to jump on and chat because I don't want sickness to ruin my day, right, and take control. I want to still be able to support and show up better for you. But of course, rest as well. I'm definitely going to rest a lot more, but I still wanted to come and say hi on this live. And for those of you that are new here, my name is Zoe Jean from Zoe Jean Coaching, and I help women to heal their anxiety from all over the world using the Rewrite Your Anxiety method, which focuses on mindset work, rewriting the programs of your subconscious mind, body connection work, building a deep connection with your body, and picking up on the signs and signals of stress and anxiety when it's in its early stages, so you can regulate your emotions before it gets out of control. And when you have a deep connection with yourself, you're more likely to be able to build a deep connection with other people as well. And we look at nervous system regulation as well, getting you into your healthy window of tolerance, and then from there expanding that, because the longer you stay in hyperarousal, in a dysregulated state, the smaller this gets. We want to get you regulated and then widen it, and then the more everyday life stresses and things you can handle without it making you spiral out of control. And then there's also habit work as well, right? Because everything we do is based off our habits. So it's about recognizing what your current habits are, which habits are serving you, and which habits aren't. And the habits that aren't serving you, aka they're a bit of a negative habit, they're still serving you in one way. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing them at all. So it's about recognizing what those habits are and how you can get that same benefit from a new positive habit, and getting to the root of what's actually causing you to do that habit as well. Hi Kath, thank you for watching. So anyway, that's just a bit about the Rewrite Your Anxiety method. So if anyone's got any questions, feel free to let me know about that as well. And today I just wanted to talk about self-awareness, right? Because one of the reasons why a lot of us stay stuck for so long is because we lack that self-awareness about what is going on around us, in our body, in our minds, in the environment around us, in the world. And it's very hard to heal and change unless you have that self-awareness. And once you start to get that self-awareness, so much can change, right? Because we get so fixated on irregular habits and in autopilot when we live in survival mode, that we just keep doing the same actions day in and day out, getting the same results, and we're unable to change it because we just do it so automatically and we don't question it. But if we start to get that self-awareness and actually question what we're doing, it makes a world of difference, right? So it's really important to know that can be your first step on your healing journey. I know it can be difficult and not know where to start, but just start with learning self-awareness. Because self-awareness teaches you to become aware of your beliefs. It teaches you to become aware of your negative emotions, what your drivers are, what your triggers are. And when I say drivers, what drives you to do what you do, what your triggers are, what triggers you into a certain state, what your behaviors are and what triggers those behaviors. And it just helps with everything, right? You can't get to where you want to go from where you are unless you currently have that awareness of where you want to go and where you currently are. So it's so important. And if you're struggling to make friends or understand yourself or do well in work, whatever the situation is, that is also most likely because you lack self-awareness, right? Because self-awareness helps build relationships, helps build trust in yourself and other people. It helps increase your confidence and helps you take action. It can also decrease stress and anxiety if you have more self-awareness of what is actually going on in your life. And it can also free us from certain assumptions and biases as well, because unless we have that self-awareness, we get fixated on one exact thing, and we think that's either the truth or we assume that's the truth. So self-awareness really helps with that as well. And self-awareness also gives you the power to actually pause before you react. And this is something that can be so simple yet hard to do for a lot of people. And it's one of the first things I get my clients to start to focus on, pausing before you're reacting. Because a lot of the time we just react straight away, and then it makes the situation 10 times worse than it needs to be, 10 times more stressful, anxiety driven, affects not only you but the person you're reacting to. And quite often it just has nothing to do with the actual situation, because you're just biting back based on what you're currently feeling, your current subconscious mind programs, the current trauma and tensions trapped in your body. You're reacting because of all of that rather than what's actually happening in that moment. So pausing can really help with that. And it's also important to recognize that there's different types of self-awareness, right? So there's public self-awareness, and this is being aware of how we appear to others, and this helps with our consciousness, and we're more likely to adhere to social norms and behave in a way that's socially acceptable if we have public self-awareness. And what I mean by that, like for example, in a way that's socially acceptable, like not walking down the street naked, for example, not saying that that you have to live up to all society's expectations, because that's not true, but there is a level of self-awareness in society that we need, right? Because we can't just walk around the street naked. We can't just always say exactly how we feel to people, because that can sometimes be rude or hurt their feelings, so it means stuff like that. And then there's private self-awareness, and this is being able to notice and reflect on what is going on inside you internally, right? Because this is where also a lot of us go wrong. How we feel, the emotions we feel and our thoughts, we let society, we let the outside world dictate that. When in reality, we want to come back to private self-awareness, where it's our internal beliefs, thoughts and ideas that control how we feel, our emotions and our thoughts, right? Because if you wait for external things to make you happy, make you feel calm, make you feel in love, then you're going to be waiting a long time. It's always going to be up and down. But if you can find that happiness internally inside, and have that private awareness about that, it's going to make the world of difference, and it will also change the way you approach your feelings, the way you react to things. It will help you react with more curiosity rather than judgment. And a lot of the times what stops us being able to be self-aware is that it feels uncomfortable, right? It feels much safer to stay in the familiarity of what we're currently doing, to stay in the predictable, to stay in what we've always known, and getting outside of that, it feels uncomfortable, it feels uncertain, it doesn't feel nice. So we just stay stuck where we've always been, in the lack of self-awareness and staying stuck in our heads. And having a dysregulated nervous system, which is something a lot of us have when we're highly stressed and anxious, that also stops us from having self-awareness, and it makes us obviously react to things straight away. And self-awareness is just about getting to know ourselves on a deep level. So just as I said at the start, just start to become more self-aware of yourself, by noticing what your regular thoughts are, what your regular emotions are, what triggers you, why you do, what your behaviors are. Just really start to debunk yourself as a person, and just get to know yourself. Just get to know yourself with curiosity, without judgment. This isn't about judging ourselves at all. It's just about understanding why we do the things that we do and what exactly we do. And this also helps with self-acceptance, right? If you can, quite often we don't accept ourselves, but we don't even really know ourselves. So we can actually help that self-awareness to get to know ourselves better. It can also help us learn to accept ourselves more. Because sometimes we do things that maybe aren't ideal, that aren't the greatest, but it's currently based on what we're going through at the moment and what we think is best at the time, right? So it can really help accept that when you have that self-awareness about why you do the things that you do. So I really invite you to just start to debunk, start to get to know yourself more. If you want any more questions to ask yourself regarding this, let me know. Be happy to chat with you outside of this live. But just really dive deep and get to know yourself. And if anything comes up to why you can't, I want you to ask yourself why. What's stopping you from getting to know yourself? What are you afraid of? What's the worst that could happen? And, you know, does it trigger you when you think about getting to know yourself? Because if so, that's your teacher. Triggers are our biggest teacher of what we need to work on. So let's work with our triggers rather than against them. Quite often we work against them, we resist them, then we make the problem worse. When actually, in reality, they are teachers. They can help us grow and learn and heal a part of us that needs to be healed. So let's start to look at triggers differently as well. So yeah, I really would love you to start implementing these tips. And before we wrap up, I'll just go through it again. So the different types of self-awareness are public self-awareness, private self-awareness as well. And when it comes to starting to become more self-aware, just keep it simple. Start by noticing what your regular thoughts are, noticing what your regular emotions are, what your regular behaviors are, why you do the things that you do. Just start to notice all of that. It's really, really important. Start to notice what your values are. And then when you start to notice that, it's really going to make a world of difference for you to start to accept yourself more, for you to start to know yourself more. And the more that you focus on what your regular thoughts are, what your regular emotions are, and getting to know yourself better, and getting to know your triggers, that the stronger that muscle of self-awareness will get, and the more likely you're able to get to where you want to go, because you're starting to get to know yourself more and have that awareness, right? Because we can't heal ourselves if we don't even understand ourselves or know anything about ourselves. So it really is the first step to healing. And, you know, an example of how self-awareness works is, you know, what we focus on, we create, right? So if you focus on not being aware of your current reality, if you just focus on, you know, being stuck in your head and what's happened in the past and what so-and-so is doing, then you're going to create more of that. You're going to create more stress, more time stuck in your head, more bad things happening if you're fixating on those from the past. And, you know, for example, when I say, you know, what we focus on, we create, and we see more of. It's like a car, for example, right? I bet you this happens to other people. It happens to me multiple times. Say, you know, my partner, right, as an RAA driver, I used to never notice RAA cars, and now I literally notice them everywhere. Well, RAA vans, right? Because it's important to my subconscious mind now. So my subconscious mind finds it. It rings a bell in my subconscious mind. My subconscious mind generalizes that and detects that rather than deleting it. Where in the past, because our subconscious mind can only take in a certain amount of information, it would delete the RAA cards, because at that time it wasn't important information, but now it is. So that's just a way of how whatever you focus on really creates your reality, because your subconscious mind can't take in everything around you. So focus on the positives, focus on what's good in your life, focus on getting to know yourself, and that's what you're going to create in your reality. Focus on what's going wrong, the negatives, then that's what you're going to find, because your subconscious mind can only find what it believes and what it focuses on the most, because it can't notice and focus on everything at once. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, this is one of the best ways to get started, just by being more self-aware. And yeah, if you like some support with these journaling questions or some more questions, feel free to reach out, because I know it can be difficult to know where to start when it comes to journaling. I do also offer free journaling sessions as well, because I also know how beneficial it can be to journal with other people, right? Sometimes not only hard to journal on our own because we don't know what to write, also because sometimes we don't have that accountability and someone to do it with that makes us more energized and makes us more willing to do it, right? So yeah, if you'd like some more help with these journaling questions, if you have any questions about anything else or about this live, or if you'd like to have a session together, feel free to comment me below, and I would love to support you further. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.